The humans of Outpost Eryndor-7 had survived many solar storms, alien pirates, malfunctioning oxygen farms, and even 3 weeks of nothing but protein paste. But nothing prepared them for the day a small alien cub waddled into their cafeteria and demanded cake. It was exactly 0900 station time when the automatic doors hissed open. Sergeant Elena Morales looked up from her mug of coffee and froze mid-sip. Standing in the doorway was the smallest number of the Virelian species anyone had ever seen. The Virelians were known across the Galactic Coalition as towering, armored diplomats with glowing violet eyes and voices like echoing thunder. Their warships were the size of cities. Their technology could fold space like paper. And this one? This one barely reached Elena's knee. It had soft teal skin instead of the usual hardened plating. Its large, luminous eyes blinked curiously at the humans. 2 tiny antennae drooped slightly over its forehead. It wore what looked like a ceremonial sash, though it was slightly crooked. Behind it stood 3 massive Virelian guards, each at least 8 feet tall, watching nervously. The cub toddled forward. "Human Elena," it squeaked in surprisingly clear galactic common. Elena nearly dropped her mug. Yes?" The cub's eyes brightened. "Today is my solar cycle celebration. I require white forest cake." The entire cafeteria went silent. Private Jenkins whispered, "Did the alien baby just say cake?" Elena blinked. "White forest cake?" The cub nodded eagerly. "Yes, according to archived human YouTube cultural records, it is optimal celebration nourishment." Jenkins coughed to hide a laugh. Elena stared at the Virelian guards. "Is this, official?" One of the towering guards cleared his throat. It sounded like a collapsing mountain. "The High Speaker's offspring has developed an interest in human digital media." Another guard added awkwardly, "Specifically, culinary celebration recordings." The cub clasped its tiny hands. "I have studied over 437 birthday cake ceremonies. White forest cake appears superior." Elena pinched the bridge of her nose. Of course it did. Months ago, the humans had introduced the Virelians to Earth's internet archives as part of a cultural exchange. Most Virelians studied engineering lectures and military history. Apparently, the High Speaker's child had found YouTube and cake videos. "Well," Elena said slowly, "white forest cake isn't exactly standard military rations." The cub's antennae drooped dramatically. "My celebration will be incomplete." The cafeteria collectively melted. Even Jenkins sighed. "Sergeant, we can't let the alien kid have a sad birthday." Elena exhaled. "All right, let's see what we can do." White forest cake was not something typically baked on a frontier station orbiting a mineral-rich moon 600 light-years from Earth. They had protein synthesizers, nutrient blocks, dehydrated vegetables, emergency chocolate rations. But white forest cake required real ingredients: flour, sugar, eggs, whipped cream, white chocolate shavings, and cherries. Elena marched into the supply bay with determination. "Inventory check," she ordered. Station AI responded instantly. "Flour supply, limited, sugar, adequate, powdered egg substitute, available, dairy cream, insufficient." Jenkins looked hopeful. "We could improvise?" Elena grinned. "We're human." "Improvising is our primary survival trait." They scavenged across the station. Engineer Patel traded half his coffee stash for a sealed bag of flour he'd been saving for a special occasion. Dr. Han donated preserved cherries from her personal Earth Care package. Someone found white chocolate bars hidden in a toolbox. "Who hides chocolate in engineering?" Elena demanded. Patel avoided eye contact. Within an hour, the tiny kitchen in Habitat Ring C looked like a battlefield. Flour floated in the air. Jenkins had somehow gotten whipped cream in his hair. The station AI kept politely reminding them that culinary combustion risk has increased by 12%. And in the corner, sitting patiently on an overturned supply crate, was the Virelian cub, watching. Its glowing eyes followed every movement. "Humans are inefficient," it observed. Elena raised an eyebrow. "We prefer the term creative." The cub tilted its head. "You appear." "Joyful," Patel laughed. Kid, this is the most exciting thing that's happened all month. The cub processed that. Celebration preparation increases happiness? Absolutely, Elena said. That's kind of the point. The cub's antennae perked up. It was silent for a moment before asking quietly, do humans always celebrate survival cycles? Elena paused. Yeah, we do. Even in dangerous places? Jenkins snorted. Especially in dangerous places. The cub seemed to absorb that deeply. 3 hours later, against all probability and several minor kitchen fires, the cake was complete. It wasn't perfect. The layers were slightly uneven. The whipped cream leaned precariously on one side. The white chocolate shavings were more like white chocolate chunks. But it was unmistakably a white forest cake. Elena set it carefully on the central table in the cafeteria. The Varelian guards stiffened as if witnessing a sacred ritual. The cub approached slowly. Its glowing eyes widened. It is, identical to archive reference video 92. Jenkins whispered. We did it. Elena lit a small candle in the center. The Varelian guards immediately tensed. It is controlled fire, Elena reassured them. The cub stared at the flickering flame. According to tradition, I must extinguish the combustion source and vocalize a desire. Make a wish, Elena translated gently. The cub closed its glowing eyes. For a long moment, the room was silent. Then it blew. The candle went out. The cafeteria erupted into applause. The cub startled, then made a high-pitched chirping sound that the translator struggled to process. Emotion detected. Extreme delight. Elena cut the first slice and handed it over carefully. The cub examined it like a scientist analyzing a rare mineral. Then it took a bite. Everyone held their breath. The cub froze. Its eyes widened even further. Then it made a sound no Varelian had ever recorded before. A soft, bubbling giggle. This, it declared with authority, is superior to nutrient paste. The humans burst out laughing. Even the massive guards relaxed slightly. The cub continued eating, getting whipped cream on its sash. It didn't seem to care. After a few bites, it looked up at Elena. Human Elena. Yeah, kid? Why do humans create celebration nourishment even when resources are scarce? Elena considered the question. Because, she said slowly, sometimes surviving isn't enough. You've got to remind yourself why you're surviving. The cub stared at her, processing. Its antennae lifted slowly. I will record this data. Jenkins grinned. Make sure you post it on Alien YouTube. The cub blinked. Already streaming. The humans froze. Wait, what? The Varelian guard checked a device. It appears this event is being broadcast to the High Council. Elena looked at the messy kitchen. The lopsided cake. Jenkins covered in whipped cream. You're kidding. The cub smiled, an expression no human had seen on a Varelian before. Observation. Humans display strength through joy. Even in isolation, even with limited supplies, even under threat conditions. The guard's communicator crackled. A deep, resonant voice echoed through the cafeteria. This is the high speaker. Every human stood at attention. There was a pause. Then, please transmit recipe. The cafeteria exploded into relieved laughter. Elena saluted casually. Yes, sir. The cub beamed. My celebration is successful. Elena crossed her arms. You know, kid? Next year, you're helping bake. The cub tilted its head. Agreed, and somewhere in deep space, across dozens of Varelian warships and council chambers, millions of armored giants watched a tiny cub covered in whipped cream laugh with a group of messy, resourceful humans. And for the first time, they began to understand why humanity was different. But this was only the beginning, because the stream was still live, and not everyone watching was friendly.